Hi, welcome back. Hopefully I can still do the voices. Chapter 89, Resentful Female Ghost. Flames of jealousy burn the affection. Hua Cheng raised his hand slightly and brought the silver butterfly perched there closer to Xie Lian's ear. Along with the sound of the silver butterfly's fluttering wings, he heard Pei Ming's voice flow over. Silly thing, did you hear that strange noise? Even though Xie Lian knew that Pei Ming felt nothing for Ban Yue, the way he spoke would make anyone wonder. It was probably because Pei Ming had been chasing skirts for such a long time. I'm not silly, Ban Yue muttered grimly, and I heard. That noise was really weird. I don't think it's General Hua coming back. Of course it wasn't. That was the thumping sound Xuanji made while hopping along on her broken legs. The thumping didn't last long before the two on the other end fell silent. The next thing they heard was a woman's crazed laughter. The laughter echoed and resounded in the empty underground city, then carried over via the silver butterfly. Some white noise crackled over the transmission, and the result was even scarier than hearing it in person. Naturally, this was the laugh of the overjoyed and painfully hateful Xuanji, who had finally seen Pei Ming once more. Didn't the silver butterfly lead her in the opposite direction? Xie Lian asked. She's smarter than expected, Hua Cheng replied. Xuanji had been hot on the trail of the wrath butterfly, running with incredible speed all the way to the end of the main street in no time. However, she found no one there. She had once been a general on the battlefield, so she quickly realized that she had been led astray. She should have returned to Qirong at the moment she figured it out, but she was dead set on finding Pei Ming. So she just turned around and ran in the opposite direction, throwing her boss completely out of her mind. Xie Lian found it funny for some reason. It was a complicated sentiment. He quickly gathered the escaping hostages, and their group rushed to the Wuyong Holy Temple at the center of the city. Xuanji waited for Pei Ming Xuanji had waited for Pei Ming for much, much too long. From the sound of her laughter alone, it was easy to imagine how crazed and twisted her face must look. Pei Ming was probably also stunned by the sight of her, and he was in shock for a long moment before he spoke. You are... Xuanji sneered coldly. After a pause, however, Pei Ming unexpectedly asked, Who are you? Xuanji was so filled with hate that her voice turned sharp and trembling. Are you trying to anger me on purpose? You're actually asking who I am? Xie Lian wiped away a drop of cold sweat. No way, General Pei. Is he doing this on purpose, or does he really not recognize her? Probably the latter, Hua Cheng said. After all, if the rumors were true, Pei Ming had carried on affairs with over 1,000 beauties over the course of many centuries. How could he remember each one, especially an old one from so many hundreds of years ago? Furthermore, the Ghost Bride incident on Mount Yuzhen had been handed off to Pei Su to manage. Pei Ming didn't bother appearing in person at all, nor did he cast a single glance her way. Right. You're deliberately trying to anger me. I won't fall for it, Xuanji mumbled to herself. You want to lie and say you don't remember me. You want to lie to me. And then she screeched again. Who is this little whore? Aren't your standards usually high? What, trying a different flavor this time? Ban Yue was confused. Pei Ming was even more confused. Both made noises of confusion, but that resentful tone seemed to jog Pei Ming's memory. He slightly knitted his brows. Xuanji, what happened to you? Only then did Xie Lian remember that Xuanji must look quite disheveled. Her eyes were the red of a malicious ghost's, and the bottom hem of her bright crimson bridal robe was disgustingly filthy. She crawled like a crocodile on the ground, sluggish but dangerous. Presented with such a sight, it would genuinely be quite difficult to link her to the noble, composed general she once was. Pei Ming's question infuriated Xuanji. What happened to me? You dare ask how I've come to look like this? It's your fault. I did all this for you. Hua Cheng was listening intently, so any subtle movements would not escape his ears. She charged at the protection circle, he informed. Roya can hold her off, Xie Lian said. Sure enough, a shriek was heard through the silver butterfly. Xuanji must have been bounced back and sent flying over 30 meters, dropping into the darkness once more. Pei Ming spoke. His Highness is an excellent spiritual device. I'll have to make one for myself sometime. You wouldn't say that if you knew how it was forged, Xie Lian thought. But before he could complete his thought, Pei Ming shouted, What are you doing? Stop! Don't think you can keep hiding in there, Xuanji yelled. Rumble, rumble. Shilian was dumbfounded as he hurried along. What's that sound? Did something collapse? What did she do? It appears she toppled the holy temple. The stone ceiling collapsed. As it turned out, when Xuanji found out she couldn't enter Ruya's protection circle, she knocked the entire building down in a fit. Are General Pei and the others all right? Little Pei and Banyue are both there too, Shilian asked. He was especially concerned for Pei Su, who was currently mortal. Hopefully he didn't get crushed. They're fine. Pei Ming protected them, Hua Cheng said. The moment the stone ceiling collapsed, Pei Ming became a meat shield and protected Pei Su and Banyue with his body. Shilian breathed a sigh of relief. Then it's fine. The protection circle won't break from that. On the other end, Pei Ming was clearly furious. He smashed the stone slab on top of him with a punch and exclaimed, Enough with the tantrum! Even if you topple the sky, you won't be able to get in. Xuanji only cackled wickedly in response. General Pei, watch out! Banyue exclaimed, What? All the reactions happened at once. Amidst the chaos, Shilian heard the sound of a sharp sword piercing flesh. There was no question that Pei Ming was the one who was stabbed. What's happened? Shilian cried anxiously. Who stabbed General Pei? Did the protection circle break? That's impossible. Wait, a sword? In that instant, he finally understood what Xuanji had been planning. So that was it. After Xuanji had her fill of laughing, she said coldly, Who said I wanted to get in? Another voice also started laughing. Hey, Pei Ming! Look who's here, it's your old sweetheart. Wrong Guang. As it turned out, Xuanji didn't topple the holy temple in a mad fit of rage, nor was she trying to enter the protection circle. Her goal was to crush the 2 ghost sealing clay pots Banyue had with her in the circle. This would release the ghosts and allow them to attack from the inside. As soon as Rongguang escaped the pot, he quickly turned into his sword form and stabbed Pei Ming. Pei Ming seemed to be trying to pull him out, but Rongguang wouldn't budge and kept himself firmly buried in Pei Ming's body. You wish! Time to die! Pei Ming gritted his teeth. Stay Preceptor Banyue! Is the other pot okay? Xuanji and Rongguang were already attacking them from both sides. If Kamo joined the mix, it'd be over for them. Yes, Kamo is still sealed, Banyue confirmed. The situation was growing dire, and Shilian was worried. Just as he was about to quicken his pace, Hua Cheng stopped completely. Perplexed, Shilian looked back. Sunlun? On the back of Hua Cheng's hand perched another wrath butterfly, which seemed to be whispering to him about a new change in the situation. When the report was done, he looked up and smiled. Nigga, no need to panic. Looks like it'll be fine even if we don't rush over. Back at the temple, Mingguang had pierced Pei Ming's chest under Rongguang's command. Xuanji gripped his boots before shimmying up his leg, looking like a red gecko. With the way she was dressed, and that ghost fire looming over her head, she was the very picture of a crazed ghost woman. You! Pei Ming cried. Pei, darling! Pei, darling! Xuanji murmured. She wrapped herself around Pei Ming, contorting her body and mangled legs in horrible shapes. In that position, it was difficult to tell whether she wanted to strangle him to death or embrace him tightly. At the edge of her vision, she suddenly spotted Pei Su, who Pei Ming was shielding. She remembered that this cold and stoic martial god had sealed her under a mountain, and she gritted her teeth. You little mutt! Just as her claws were about to swipe, a hand seized her wrist. The skin of the hand that had halted hers was just as pale as her own. When she looked up, she realized it was Banyue who had stopped her. Her heart burned whenever she saw another woman by Pei Ming's side, and she cried, I haven't even come for your wretched life, but here you are, giving yourself up to me. And then she grabbed Banyue's head. But Banyue wasn't one of those good, obedient little brides who would stand around waiting to be scratched to death. She deftly seized Xuanji's other wrist. Xuanji was a general in life. She knew that her strength would put most men to shame, and typical human women and female ghosts could only submit to her beatings. But she never could have imagined that this little girl, who looked so thin and weak, like a simple breeze could knock her over, possessed such terrifying power in her arms, a strength that nearly dwarfed Xuanji's own. Not only were both her wrists cuffed and immobile, Xuanji was even more stunned when their eyes met. The little girl's gaze was full of aggression and murderous intent, like the shimmer of a blade in combat. It reminded Xuanji of the battlefield. Her heart lurched, and she flung away her arms to break free of the hold. Banyue picked up Pei Su, and borrowing the force of Xuanji's throw, hopped meters away, landing lightly on her feet. Let go of General Pei! The sword buried in Pei Ming taunted him. Pei Ming, you're lucky with women as usual. Look at this, you've got 2 lady ghosts fighting over you. Xuanji clung to Pei Ming like a contorted scarlet python, and both her hands wrapped around his neck. Your little lover seems to have some skill, she said coldly. Pei Ming coughed out a mouthful of blood. She's not my lover, I don't have one. You're still trying to deny it, Xuanji cried. If she's not your lover, why would she tell me to let you go? If my old ma were here, she'd tell you to let me go. By your definition, would that make her my lover? Pei Ming countered. Only his frivolous character could be blamed at this point, since he went around calling women silly things for no good reason. Xuanji was mad with jealousy and refused to believe a word he said. What? Afraid to admit it? You were so intimate when speaking to her before. Didn't you always admit it so frankly whenever you got your hands on a new flame? You'd always be honest with me, never caring for my feelings. You know how miserable I was? Why are you scared of admitting him to anything now? General Pei, have you started to fear death? Or do you love her so much that you can't bear to let me touch a single one of her fingers? They were still a good distance from the Holy Temple, and Xilian watched the scene play out from afar. He couldn't bear to stand by anymore and looked back. Sanlan, why don't we go rescue them? He Cheng laughed. No need to worry, Gaga. Someone else will be showing up on our behalf. Besides, even if we head over now, Xuanji wouldn't release her chokehold on Pei Ming. That was true, and things would indeed be rather difficult with the hostages to look after. Yin Yu and the farmers were nervously spectating the action and providing commentary. Yeah, I can tell that lady ghost's love has warped into hatred. She's going nuts. I don't think so. I'm sure she won't be able to bring herself to go through with it. Want some melon seeds? Give me another handful, thanks. How can everyone be in the mood to snack on melon seeds? Xilian asked, frowning. Your Highness, didn't you eat a bunch too? The people said. Huh? Only then did Xilian realize that while he was focused on the throw, he had unconsciously accepted a handful of melon seeds that had been passed to him and eaten them all. He slapped his forehead. How rude of me. On the other end, Pei Ming was at the end of his rope. Xuanji, do you have to be like this about everything? It's been so many years. Why can't we just bury the hatchet and walk away? Why must you be like this? Xuanji's hand squeezed his throat harder, her almond-shaped eyes bulging. No! You messed with me first, and you want to bury the hatchet and walk away! You wish! Pei Ming sighed. You really haven't changed at all. This is exactly why we didn't work out. Xuanji thrust her face close to his. What was that? You think I'm the problem? What do you mean? She cried in rage. Am I not beautiful enough? You told me I was gorgeous. Did I deny you Yushi's battle plans and army secrets? No, but you refused them. You said that you didn't like that I was strong-minded, so I threw away my own legs. Who could ever love you more than me? But what about you? Over hundreds of years, you never even cast a single glance my way. When did you ever come to see me? Pei Ming pushed away the face that was pressed so close to his. I didn't visit because I knew you'd go crazy if I came to see you, he shouted. Xuanji seized the Mingguang sword in his chest and pushed it in deeper, then pulled it out. Pei Ming puked another few mouthfuls of blood. Say it! Xuanji yelled. Swear on your status as a heavenly official. Swear that from now on, I am the only one. Swear that you'll never look at another woman again. That your eyes will rot if you do. Rongguang was clearly enjoying this. Go on and say it, Pei Ming. Say it and you can salvage your pathetic life. Pei Ming cursed. Shut up! God damn it, I never could have guessed. I didn't die on the battlefield. I didn't die by the world's greatest sword. Instead, I'll die by the hand of a nutty ghost woman. Not receiving the answer she desired, Xuanji was absolutely furious. Her claws shot out to grip the crown of his head. Xilian really couldn't wait any longer. Sanlang, I think things are getting out of hand, he said as he put his hand on Feng Shen's hilt. Will the person you spoke of make it in time? If not, then let me go first. It's fine, He Cheng said. Gaga, look, here they come. Just as the words left his lips, the insane, furious Xuanji froze completely. It was like someone had cast a petrification spell on her. Her body and expression went rigid, and Pei Ming had already been stabbed by her multiple times, and his vomited blood covered the floor. From within the darkness, they could hear the crisp sound of ox hooves. Click, clack, click, clack. Their pace was unhurried. Soon after, a person riding a black ox appeared before them. The rider was a woman wearing robes of lush green. Her eyes were clear and her expression was calm and quiet. As she languidly approached, she held her chin high, like she was gazing at something far away. Pei Ming, with blood smeared around his lips, was momentarily stunned. Queen Yushi? Illustration? The woman inclined her head to look at him, her demeanor unchanged. She then gave a slight smile and bowed her head to return the greeting. Xie Lian was shocked as well. Queen Yushi? That's right, Hua Chen replied. Heaven's current Rainmaster, the 16th princess of the kingdom of Yushi, Yushi Huang. She was also the last ruler of the kingdom of Yushi. And that's chapter 89.